with ABCD News, and I'm reporting live from my basement. And we are going to investigate today on the Ferguson shooting. And I will switch over this case to Taylor.
Thanks, Pyle. The shooting occurred on August 9, 2014 in Ferguson, Missouri, when 18-year-old African-American Michael Brown was shot 6 times by a white police officer named Darren Wilson. The circumstances of the shooting indulged in a prolonged and still continuing protest and civil unrest as it received wide attention all across the United States. It was reported earlier that day that Brown and his friend Dorian Johnson were caught on a security camera at a convenience store stealing $48 worth of cigars. A police dispatcher reported a stealing in progress whose description matched that of Brown and Johnson. They were then spotted by Wilson that same day and then ordered to move to the sidewalk.
That's right, Taylor. A struggle then took place between Brown and Wilson through the window of the police SUV when the first bullet hit Brown's arm. When Brown finally escaped Wilson's grip, Johnson and Brown fled. Johnson managed to hide behind a car. Meanwhile, Wilson pursued after Brown. It was then that Brown was struck by Wilson's gun 6 times, and Brown died no less than 90 seconds later. Now let's go over to Pyle, who's interviewing Michael Brady, a witness.
Hello, Brady. I'm here with Michael Brady, and let's move it over to him. So, Michael, what did you witness that day when you looked outside your window?
Well, from the window, I saw Michael Brown, and Johnson. So, altercations going on out there. So I ran outside to record. Took out my phone. I saw them, and I saw Brown running in the street.
And did you hear the first gunshot fire?
Not that I know of. I mean, I ran outside. The gap between from the time I was inside and out, I could be wrong, but I didn't hear any gunshots. So I ran out, and Johnson ran behind the trunk, and Johnson escaped. And while he was running out the street, Wilson exited his car and just started shooting multiple shots.
And that's all you saw?
Those are the only shots I found.
Thanks, Michael. Now let's switch it over to Dorian Johnson and hear what he has to say about the incident.
My friend, we was walking down the street, in the middle of the street, and we wasn't causing any harm to nobody. We had no weapons on us at all. We just walking, having a conversation. No cars were blowing at us or honking at us like we was holding up traffic or anything like that. Now, a police officer squad car pulled up, and when he pulled up, these was his exact words. He said, "Get the F on the sidewalk." And we told the officer we was not but a minute away from our destination, and we would shortly be out the street. We was having a conversation, and he went about his way for about 1 or 2 seconds as we continued to walk, and then he reversed his car, and in a manner to where it almost hit us, and it blocked both lanes off the way he turned his car. So he pulled up on the side of us. He tried to thrust his door open, but we were so close to it that it ricocheted off us and it bounced back to him. He just reached his arm out the window and grabbed my friend around his neck and was trying to choke my friend, and he was trying to get away, and the officer then reached out and he grabbed his arm to pull him into the car. So now it's like the officer's pulling him inside the car and he's trying to pull away. And at no time the officer said that he was going to do anything until he pulled out his weapon. His weapon was drawn, and he said, "I'll shoot you," or "I'm going to shoot." And in the same moment, the first shot went off. And we looked at him. He was shot, and there was blood coming from him. And we took off running. And as we took off running, I ducked and hid for my life because I was feared for my life. And I hid by the first car that I saw. My friend, he kept running. And he told me to keep running because he feared for me too. So as he was running, the officer was trying to get out of the car. And once he got out the car, he pursued my friend, but his weapon was drawn. Now, he didn't see any weapon drawn at him or anything like that, us going for no weapon. His weapon was already drawn when he got out the car. He shot again, and once my friend felt that shot, he turned around and he put his hands in the air, and he started to get down, but the officer still approached with his weapon drawn, and he fired several more shots, and my friend died. He didn't say anything to him. He just stood over and he was shooting. By then, I was so afraid for my life, I got up and I ran.
Now let's hear from Darren Wilson himself and his side of the story about the incident.
As I was opening the door, I said, "Hey, come here for a minute." And that's when he turned and said, "What the are you going to do about it?" and slammed my door shut on me. I used my door to try and push him back and yell at him to get back. And again, he just pushed the door shut and just stares at me. And as I look back at him, all of a sudden, punches start flying. He threw the first one and hit me in the left side of my face.
Because, some of the witnesses have said that they saw you trying to pull him into the car.
That would be against every training ever taught to any law enforcement officer. I don't know what or how many hit me after that. I just know there was a barrage of swinging and grabbing and pulling for about 10 seconds. And then what? I had reached out my window of my right hand to grab onto his forearm because I was going to try and move him back and get out of the car to where I'm no longer trapped. And when I felt it, I just felt the immense power that he had. If he hasn't stopped yet, when's he going to stop? After he's coming at me and I decided to shoot, I fired a series of shots and paused.
What did you see?
I noticed at least one of them hit him. I don't know where, but I saw his body kind of just flinch a little. And after that, I paused and I again yelled, "Stop, get on the ground," giving him the opportunity to stop. And he ignored all the commands and he just kept running.
This civil unrest finally came to an end this Monday, the 24th of November, when the grand jury chose not to indict Darren Wilson on the case of shooting an unarmed black teenager. And the people of Missouri, and the nation for that matter, are not happy with this verdict, and some people have even chose to take matters into their own hands and rebelled against the decision of the grand jury. And the nation is now met with chaos, especially in Ferguson, Missouri. It came as much shock when Darren Wilson submitted his resignation after having been in service since 2011. And in the letter first published in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, Mr. Wilson said, "It was my hope to continue in police work, but the safety of other police officers and the community are of paramount importance to me. It is my hope that my resignation will allow the community to heal." A nation has gathered in unity to protest the decisions made by the grand jury all across the United States. And the future of Ferguson, Missouri still remains a mystery and a thing behind the past. Signing off, this is your host Payal from ABCD News, and I hope you have a good day. It was my hope to continue in police work,